Hi, my name is Raina, and today I'm gonna talk about the 7 things that I loved about Medellín, Colombia. So, just to give you a bit of a backstory, I was in Medellín from February to March of 2023, and I was sharing with a friend how much I was enjoying myself, what a great time I had, and how I really would like to go back one day. And she was like, "Tell me more," because it's not really on my radar. All I hear is they had a history of drugs, and then also prostitution is now legal there. So I know a lot of guys go there for sex, and I'm like, wait a second. There's so many things to love about Medellin. So that's the backstory of this video. So without further ado, let's get into the 7 things that I loved about Medellin, Colombia. So, number 1 is the people. They are so nice, so kind, so friendly, so helpful. And it's like I've traveled to different cities in different countries, and sometimes the people don't really want you there, and you can kind of feel that. But in Medellin, it's like they really wanted you there, and they were so friendly, so open, so welcoming. It's kind of like your home. So that's number 1. And the people in Medellin are called Paisas. Also, there's also Paisa people in other areas around Medellin. So the Paisa people in Medellin, they typically don't say de nada when you say like gracias. They typically say con gusto or con mucho gusto, and that means with pleasure or with much pleasure. And it's just like you can really feel that they really mean that. And yeah, I really I really love, not like, I really love the people in Medellin. They are so nice. So number 1 is the people. Number 2, Lareles. What is Lareles? So it's a neighborhood in Medellin, and it's actually my favorite neighborhood. I stayed in 3 different neighborhoods while I was there, and Lareles was my favorite. I stayed in El Poblado as well, and also La Floresta. So El Poblado was actually my least favorite, and of course Lareles was my favorite. So Lareles, I really liked it because there was a good mix of foreigners, long-term tourists, also expats, and they also had local Colombians that lived there. So it was a great place to be if you wanted some of the comforts of home, but you also wanted to experience and learn about the Colombian and Paisa culture. Also in Lareles, you would often see the same faces over and over again. So you might meet somebody at a language exchange or at a cafe or at a restaurant or out dancing, and you'll run into them again. So this is another thing that I really liked about Lareles, because it kind of like felt like a community, and it kind of felt like home. So yeah, Lareles is number 2. Number 3 is transportation. Transportation is easy and inexpensive. They do have Uber there, and it cost me about $1 to $3 for an Uber in Medellin while I was there. And apparently Uber is illegal, but they still have it. I also found that it was a little easier for me, since I was learning Spanish, to use Uber as opposed to a taxi, because most of the people in Medellin and in Colombia speak Spanish, of course, and they don't speak as much English, which is one of the reasons why I went there, because I wanted to learn Spanish. But Ubers were kind of like a better option for me, as I was still working on my Spanish. But if you do know some Spanish, taxis might be a great option. It's cheaper than Ubers, and then also public transportation was also great. You can use Google Maps to do public transport there. So like Google Maps has all of the information in there and everything. So transportation was easy and inexpensive. That's number 3. Number 4, the food was also inexpensive. So a typical meal without like alcohol would cost me about $5 to $7. Expensive meals typically cost about $20 for me. So when it comes to like alcohol, beers typically cost between $1 and $3, and mixed drinks and shots were more. They cost more. What else? Oh yeah, Going out to eat was actually cheaper for me than making food, because I typically like gringo food and snacks, or foreign food and snacks. So it was cheaper for me to eat at a restaurant than it was to make food at home, because the foods that I wanted typically cost more because they had to be imported and stuff. And also another thing that I want to say is I eat pretty healthy. So the foods that I ate were typically a little bit more expensive than some of the other foods. So I would eat like salads, quinoa, things like that, vegetarian stuff. I also ate meats as well, but I typically ate like healthier foods. So if you don't eat as healthy, then your food costs might be even cheaper. So number 5, accommodations can be cheap, especially if you book ahead of time. So I stayed in a hostel. I also stayed in Airbnbs, and I stayed in a co-living hotel. So the hostels were typical like hostel prices. For the Airbnbs, they cost between I booked late, so it cost between $250 and $300 per week. And for the co-living hotel, I paid about $500 to $600 per month. Okay, so number 5 is accommodations can be cheap, and especially if you look ahead of time. And number 6, the city is surrounded by mountains. So Medellin is kind of like in a valley. I think they call it a valley. Okay. And it's surrounded by mountains. So you can get amazing views from almost anywhere in the city. And one of the best views that I found when I was there was from the rooftop of a hotel/hostel called Messiah, which is in El Poblado. You don't have to stay there to be able to go to the rooftop. There's a bar there. There's also a restaurant there. And they often have like events like salsa dancing classes, and also like language exchanges and stuff like that. So Messiah in El Poblado is a great place to get those amazing views. However, if you're not able to make it to Messiah, there are lots of other rooftops that you can take advantage of throughout the city. Different bars, restaurants, sometimes hotels, and also like Airbnb sometimes have really nice rooftops, and hostels as well. Okay, so that's number 6. Number 7. While the food in Medellin, our paisa food, was not necessarily my favorite type of food, I really did fall in love with this delicious and refreshing drink called lemonada de coco. And lemonada de coco is kind of like lemonade mixed with like coconut milk. You can get it without milk, I believe. I don't think I ever really got it like that. But it is so good. Like, if you don't like lemonade or coconut, you probably won't like this drink. But if you do, you will love this delicious and refreshing drink. So those are 7 things that I loved about Medellin. And I hope that it gives you a better idea of like the different things that you can do, experience, and enjoy in the city of Medellin. I actually wrote a blog post where this video will be included. But I also talk about like why I decided to go to Medellin, and also the things I enjoy doing in Medellin. So if you want to learn more about that, you can head over to my blog at hergranddaughter.com. But either way, whether you head over there or not, I really hope that you enjoyed this video and it gave you a good idea of like what there is to enjoy and what Medellin, some of the things that Medellin has to offer. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye.